Hey Mark, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I saw an article today from I think it's CBC, and I'll share it with you in a sec,
Yeah.
about this. We've touched on the tenant issue more than once,
Oh, we have.
and the cash for keys is like getting out of control.
It's a booming business, is what it is today,
It is.
right?
So this is the article from CBC today. Cash for keys. Some tenants who face eviction demand
Can you pull that up?
thousands.
Can you pull that up?
I'm on it.
It's not showing up on the screen. I wonder if you could share that a bit.
Okay, hold on. Here we go.
Good. It's just important. Yeah, good. This is good. Okay.
So cash for keys, some tenants who face eviction demand thousands from landlords amid tribunal delays.
Right. There's where the issue is. The delay.
Well, everybody now knows, and they talk about a family who in the East End of Toronto that that he would have to leave because they got to move in because they got to get rid of their other house because times are tough and they're in trouble.
Yep. Yep.
And so they told him his lease was up, and they told him, okay, like, we're going to move back in. And he told them he wasn't leaving and he wanted $50,000.
And he stopped paying rent.
And he stopped paying rent and utilities.
Correct. And it put a financial burden onto the landlord, right? Where it talked about, and this is normal. We see this every day where this has been happening in Ontario for the last 3 years since the COVID times, where the landlord tenant boards are so backed up, they're still doing Zooms. Everywhere where we're talking to people, we're seeing it. Friends of mine, Joanne at the ski hill at Mount St. Louis. This is the 3 weeks ago. She was, oh God, the town bought the house a year ago, and I have a tenant that won't leave. And I picked up, she was telling one of her friends. So I picked up on the conversation. I went, Joanne, why don't you offer him $5,000? Never thought of that. Long story short, we took the $5,000. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Left the property. Okay. Then the bozo's son moves in. I went, and I talked to her today about it. I went, what? Oh, yeah. This has been going on for the last 5 weeks with him. He left yesterday, but he damaged the property like you wouldn't believe. So the township wouldn't close on the property because they don't, because if they close on a property, then who's the new landlord? The township. We're not touching that. So they want him gone. So long story short, now he's gone with excessive damage to the property.
Well, my thing is, at that stage, if the son is there and the other guy took the money, the son is not on the lease. He
He
should
was,
be he should be charged for trespassing.
I agree. Long story short, they got rid, he left, but it took 4 or 5 weeks. And I went, Joanne, you got to call the police because if he's not on the lease, he's trespassing. He should be gone.
Yeah.
Oh, remember, Joanne's 81. Like, this is
Yeah.
not something to deal with. So this is a normal occurrence that people are doing. And what's really frustrating for these people that either have to sell or out, tens of thousands of dollars and behind in mortgage payments, there's no programs for these people to get help and assistance.
Well, listen, Mark, the thing is, most landlords would even take their line of credit and try to get 5,000 to get rid of them. This article, and this is exactly what happened to my client with the demand of $40,000.
Yeah,
These people are holding you hostage. They're not asking for $4,000 or $5,000 anymore.
no, they're
These
not.
people, this guy in this case is asking for 50 grand.
50K. Yep. Absurd amount of money. And further on in the article, paralegals chime in on this saying, business is booming for us. We can't keep up. Because this is just not happening once in a while. This is happening all the time.
Yeah.
As we know, you went through the incident. Look what your seller went through.
Oh,
Holy
yeah.
15K at the end of the day to go to say goodbye.
And 3 or 4 months
Meanwhile,
of rent.
and the only reason people are doing this, as we know, is because they're so far behind. It takes several months to get in front of someone. And then you have to go to, once you get a successful order, then you have to go to the sheriff's, and there's another month. It's cheaper to give them 20 grand in the end because they stopped paying rent.
Well, this is what she said. She said they did file in June of 22.
Mhm.
but she found out she could be waiting up to a year to get a hearing.
Right.
And then, so then the tenant stopped paying rent and utilities, which what they always do. She said he now owes her more than $40,000.
Landlord's never, that woman's never gonna get it.
Oh, you're never getting it.
Gone.
Yeah.
So, you know, something needs to be done, as we've talked about this a lot of times, and something needs to be done with landlord tenant board. This is getting, it's killing people's livelihood now. Like
So
that.
listen to this guy, Gordy Dent. He's a tenant advocate and executive director of the Federation of Metro Tenants Association.
Mhm.
He said there are absolutely more tenants using delays at the landlord and tenant board as leverage to get better cash deals.
100%.
He also said rents have never been higher in Toronto, so if a tenant is forced to move, they should be fairly compensated considering today's rental market. Like, are
Well,
you fucked, buddy?
I know, but see, that's
Like
the,
I own one property, say I've already been in the whole 30 or 40 grand from this guy,
right.
and now I got to compensate him because market rents went up.
Agree. I know it's wrong.
You're fucking nuts. Who's compensating me that my mortgage has tripled?
That's the thing. That's the problem, right? That,
Nobody's fucking compensating me.
no, but that's the problem, is that there's no compensation, there's no programs or no assistant packages for landlords.
Mm-hmm.
But why are we allowing these tenants to get away? Like, this is a major issue, and this is going to really impact housing supply. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
No one's wants to rent out their basement apartments anymore. That just doesn't exist anymore, right? Or if they've had someone there, they've been there forever and they're happy with them, and their rent's below market value, but who cares? They're not causing problems. So it's a big issue. We wonder why the escalation in rents. Yeah, it's the times, and it comes down to supply. We're in such a low supply across this province of Ontario today. Wonder why?
Well,
Because
Mark, it also has to do with the higher borrowing costs. Like on my properties that I had, which I sold, the last one basically, I was in the red.
100% you're subsidizing.
I'm subsidizing all of them. So
Mhm.
but these tenants are pissed off and complaining that they're paying too high when we're paying too.
100%.
We're not
100%.
making money. Like they think we're making this money hand over fist.
Nope. I know, and this is the problem, that we're going to continue to see more of this come along. It's happening. We're seeing supply. How many, you have a base apartment in your house? You're not renting it out.
Nope.
You're not going through this. I know
Nope.
lots of other people doing the same problem. The provincial government needs to do something about this, and they're not doing it. And that's the problem. We've seen this 2 years ago, where there was a guy in Collingwood that had a duplex. He went through a separation divorce. He got that property, gave his wife another property. He was sleeping in a car because they
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't end up. He couldn't afford to rent his own house. I mean, rent an apartment, because he was paying the mortgage there to keep it in good standing. So he's living in a car. Something's wrong. This has to be addressed. You know,
Well,
we've talked.
you know what the problem is, and I guess there's the landlord tenant board is trying to say that they are hoping or thinking that this year the wait times will start decreasing.
Fast enough. They're so far behind.
Well, this is the thing.
And what would you tell that? Here's what I would tell someone getting into the business today is, one, hire property management. Yes, you make the final say, but dot your I's and cross your T's. Like, you have to do everything. I would take it to a whole new level. I would just show up. So if they're renting out, they want to rent your property in Regent Court, whatever. I'm making this up. I'd be going to their place of employment. I'd be going to their address and seeing how they live, right? I would be calling the landlord, and again, that's hard to verify, but it can be done through the right channels. I would do everything to make sure I got the right tenant. There wasn't a thing that I wouldn't do, especially for new investors that, are taking all this risk. And there's a lot of risk today for them to do this.
Well, there is, and you know what I have a big issue with it too. Is like even in that article, the head of the landlord or the tenant advocacy committee or whatever he is, is saying, well, I got evicted, and it's a nightmare process, and it's so difficult, and blah 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 blah. Well,
Pay your rent.
listen, my thing is, my own son is renting my one, and
Yeah,
he's been evicted too. It's part of the game.
it's part of it.
You don't own the goddamn property.
Right.
You're renting. It's not your home.
It's not. It's not. Once you put a tenant in there, you lose all rights. You're losing out. It's not your property anymore. Yeah, your name's on title, but I'm telling you, you can't get rid of them. And it's costing some of these landlords 40, 50K to get rid of their, because they don't want to wait 10 months. They're further off ahead. They're further off ahead to pay 40K. Here you go. Leave tomorrow. Yep. Thanks. See you later. Because they're not getting the rent. They're losing it anyway.
Well, yeah, my guy ended up losing almost the same he paid. He lost, like, he's probably close to 30-40 grand by the time it's all done.
Hands down.
And I told him right off the top to offer more. I said, just
Yeah.
offer a high amount,
Yeah.
but they don't.
I know it's hard, right? Because
Well, you don't want to give somebody that's being an asshole money.
you don't, and they're already down 20 grand from not paying, and now you got to give another 20 grand to leave. It's hard, right? People don't have that kind of money laying around today. It's tough. So the best things is to really screen, do your due diligence. There's still, no matter what you do, I still think there's a ton of risk involved in it. And I think there's more people shying away from investing in properties today than ever before because of
Well,
that.
it is. And one thing that I start to look at more now, and it sounds horrible. This is going to sound like horrible. I rather have young people that are going to eventually move up.
Mhm.
I rather have like professionals. Like, once I rented to two sisters. One was a lawyer, one was a
Oh, yeah.
teacher.
Mhm.
Well, they're going to find boyfriends eventually. They're going to be gone.
Leaving, 100%.
They're leaving.
Have
So,
a good
like,
job.
but do I want to rent to, and it sounds terrible, to a family that's rented their whole life with 3 or 4 kids and 2 dogs? No.
No, it's tough. Wear and tear. It's hard in the house.
Well, and they're not leaving, Mark.
Oh, they're not leaving. No, no, that's a good point. It's a really good point, right?
You get a
Yeah.
young guy or a single guy. Well, now he's going to meet a girl and they're going to want to move in together. Like, it sounds terrible,
Yeah.
but there's certain people, they're not there for the long haul.
Oh, no, 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 no. They're not. I mean, they're young. They're gonna trade up. They're gonna meet Mrs. Wonderful or Mr. Wonderful, and they're gonna get a place together. Perfect. Right? But
It sounds terrible.
it does. It does. And what other tips can we give to viewers to help minimize the risk?
Well, I think there's 3 things that I really really look at. I don't bother with I don't even bother calling their last landlord or their those people references,
Mhm.
because they never give me a reference of anybody that's going to say anything bad.
I know. I know.
They're always going to be, it's going to be their aunt or
Yeah.
their sister or somebody else. So that's irrelevant. Most landlords, if they really want to get rid of them, don't tell you anything bad.
I'm gonna say they're great.
They're
Get the-
great.
I know that's happened lots too.
Oh, it's happened to me. That happens all the time.
It does.
What I want to see is, how long are they staying in their properties? Like, are they staying in a place for a year or two? Are they staying in there? Like, I had one that moved every year.
Yeah.
I
Red
didn't take them. Red
No.
flag. Red flag.
Yeah.
How stable, how long have they been at their jobs, their credit score?
Yeah. It's huge.
Their credit score, because your credit score is based on, like, do you make your payments?
Correct. And landlord
Um,
can input, if the tenant doesn't pay, they could put something in and it could impact the credit score. So it gets reported. So there's another tip. Sorry.
yeah. And then I look at what kind of job and how long they've been there as well.
Yeah.
Are they flirting around every 6 months, job to job to job to job to job?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to find a stable person with a good credit report and what kind of job they have.
Right. I'm going to ask you a question. So why don't you check the references from the owner? Because we have the means to verify who owns the property. right? So if I
What
was
do you
gonna,
mean?
so if I was gonna, you were gonna rent to me or whatever, and I'm saying I lived at 205, 185 Dunlop Street, and Joe Smith owned the unit, you could verify that Joe Smith owns the unit,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
Right, so you're
No, but
verifying.
the character references,
Okay, I want to clarify that. Good. Okay.
the character references aren't where you used to own, where you rented. Those are your landlords, right?
Correct.
So if they've put 2 or 3 landlords in a row, I might go back 2 or 3 because
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't care.
Oh, yes.
But the
Yep.
one that's right now,
Yep.
and you know, another thing that I used to do, and I should start doing it again. And you know, Henny in our office, she just did it this week.
Mhm.
There, she has a rental. Somebody wants to rent it. She told them, you know what? I'll come by your house and we'll discuss it.
I'm just going to talk about that. 100%. Go unannounced. Just show up. Oh, by the way, here's an application. I thought I'd drop it off tonight because I think you're great. You're going to come in and you're going to see how they live. You're going to see how many pets they have. Oh, we have no pets. Oh, great. Okay. And these 2 German Shepherds in the backyard or whatever. House is a pigsty, smoking cannabis all over, whatever. There's 10 million reasons. So yes, that's really the number one thing that I could think of that would help people
Well,
select.
yeah, if you go in and their house is well taken care of and everything's
Totally.
beautiful,
Mhm.
then you're like, okay, they feel like that's a tenant that cares about where they're living and has some kind of pride in where they live.
100%. 100%.
And that's a whole different thing, right?
Whole different thing.
And
And
you
you,
know, and a lot of landlords will keep those kind of people even if they're paying low rent.
yeah, because they got no, there's no headaches, right? For some of these people kicking out, and this happens a lot, and this is a bad thing that some landlords are doing, is they're taking advantage of these high rents and they're trying to go in and say, over remodeling and evict, we're moving in, and they put someone else in. They should be penalized. That's not a right thing. That's wrong thing to do. So there's some abuse of power there and to get higher rents, et cetera, which shouldn't be tolerated as well. But I don't think I would disturb that tenant that's always been paying my bill. So what if it's $500 less? You're opening up a can of worms.
I kept people for years for that reason.
Correct. You know them, you're comfortable, you're not worried about them
The
bouncing
rent
checks.
comes before the first of the month every month.
Right. Right. So pretty scary when people are doing that and they don't know who they're getting, or they try to do it themselves and, oh, I'm getting $2,400 now. I want them so happy I did that. Meanwhile, 2 months later, they stop paying. And they're there for a year.
Yeah.
There's more losses. So people out
I
there
know,
think,
I do know a lot of landlords that I've talked to over the years. I remember one that he listed on Eccles, and he had 2 of them, upper lower, for years, and they were both low. And he said, listen, they paid, they were good. I just left them. Like most people that have good tenants that pay before the first of the month and aren't trashing the place and and respectful, you'll leave the rent low.
yeah, it's hard to, yes, but there's so many investors that would walk away from that. And I don't know if today, I think there's a lot that walk away, but there's also a lot that would say, wow, they're established here. Look how well the home shows. Yeah, they're a little bit below market rent. I wouldn't disrupt those tenants. I wouldn't
Oh,
say, want this vacant possession. No friggin' way. Because you don't know what you're getting today. You don't.
it's
This is all over the news all the time. We're seeing this. We're seeing it in colleagues where they, like yourselves, there's many other agents that are saying, hey, pay them to leave. And when I go list the house, you have a tenant. Okay, well, can we get rid of them? Well, I'm going to ask them to leave and let them know. And hopefully they do. Give them some money. Just go give them some money so
well,
they
we
can.
tried that, but it didn't work. Like
Did
their amount was like this idiot guy, 50
right.
grand, 40 grand. I mean, you can't be reasonable with someone that's asking an unreasonable thing.
No, no, I agree. Like your case, I agree. And they didn't believe the agreement of purchase and sale, right? They didn't believe in the documentation. That was all fraudulent and fake just to get them to do it. But here it is. It's all
Well, and this is a tip for tenants, if there's any tenants out there. If you actually get something served to you from a paralegal, it's real.
100%.
He's not bullshitting you.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Like they think that, oh, he's just bullshitting to try to get us out and get higher rent.
That's right. That's
But
right.
if I'm paying a paralegal, because they're not cheap,
They're not cheap. No, they're expensive.
So if I served you something myself, that's one thing. But now if I go get a paralegal and I'm going through the whole court process and I'm willing to wait and go through the court process,
Hmm.
it's real, honey.
It's real. No, I agree 100%. So, I don't think I have anything else. I don't any tenant stuff that we could do. Um,
Oh, hit the like, subscribe, or drop us a comment
yeah, this is
or
a hot topic.
question.
So, and if you have some questions, reach out to us. We've been through this. We're seeing a lot of this more and more today. We're happy to consult, give you some tips, but that's all they're going to be because we're not in the legal business. So anyway,
Well,
yeah,
listen, the other thing, I would like to see the LTB get off Zoom.
yeah. Like,
The whole
why?
world is back to work, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah,
And they only do 4 to 5 Zoom calls a day. Why? Do you remember going to the LTB? There's 30 people sitting there.
absolutely. Things were rock and roll. There'd be a docket of 20 people to be heard that day. Maybe sometimes more. And then, you got the people, what were they called? Let's call them mediators that would try to go to mediation, try to solve the problem so we can clear them off a docket. That was many times. So they called the names. Oh no, it's all resolved. Great, thanks. Next. It just sped things up.
They're doing it all Zoom. So now you talk to the judge guy. He goes, okay, talk to the mediator. So now the judge is out there. I'm not going to say it because it's really rude what I was going to say.
Don't say it.
He's there while you mediate, and he's just sitting in the background. And then, so they only do 4 or 5 a day.
It's not enough.
No.
Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. So this will continue to keep causing a shortage of rental properties. Rents are still going to go up. Trust me, they're good. They're not going to slow down, right? Their vacancy is so low. It's under 2%. It's craziness, and they're only going to get worse.
Yeah, it will, because the problem is too, Mark, this is almost like a sick, it's like, what do you call it when it just goes in a circle?
Hamster wheel. I don't know.
Well, the reason why I'm saying this is because there's less and less and less landlords out there because they don't want to do this anymore.
100%, 110%. Like,
I had a whole bunch of
100.
my investor people selling their units and getting out of it because of this nonsense.
100%.
And you know who's buying them? Most of them, not other investors.
Oh no.
People living in the multifamily.
Yeah, that's a big trend. And I remember on a TikTok, this person, I don't know where he's from, and I did some posts on there. This is last year. And he says, I work for a company that owns like 5,000 doors. We're in the process of liquidating them all. We're done.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So when they come up, or tenant leaves, there goes a for sale sign, or there goes the con, whatever. They were getting out of probably take them years to transition out of that mess, maybe decades, but they're done. We have decided we're out of this game now.
Oh yeah, it's a problem. Like the government has caused a shitstorm because you see Doug Ford and all these guys. We need more affordable housing. We need more rentals out there. We're gonna change the zoning laws. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. And the core problems they don't address.
Not addressed. No.
They don't fucking address, at all. So now we have just more and more people actually getting out of the market, which is creating less
100%,
rentals.
100%. It's not going to change.
It's not going to change.
Okay. See ya.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.